Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome to my Starcraft journey. Today we'll be looking at not one, not two, not three, but four replays, which means this fast forward button is going to see a lot of use. This first game I am going to show not necessarily because I'm particularly awesome, but because my opponent was just brilliant. Maybe not so much in terms of skill, but in terms of what he did was just something so beautiful. I never ever see Zerg do it, and they should really do it more, just because it's so cool. So we're going to focus on him rather than me. My opponent is Falky, which I think means something. That's a word in foreign that means a word. I don't know what. So he's early expanding, normal, normal, normal. He's producing Burrow, which would be scary if I didn't constantly get an observer. And what's this? A Nidus network. Now, if any of my one single viewer don't know what a Nidus network is, it allows you to make a Nidus worm. So he's thrown this Nidus worm in my base, but luckily my observer saw the network, heard the thing roaring, and I ran in to defend, and I think they do manage to run past me, but they do pretty minimal damage. I have slowed this down way too much. So yeah, let's have a look at the units killed. They've killed 3 of my workers, 4 of my workers, 5 of my workers, and then I've cleaned it up. Let's look at the units. I've still got 10 more workers than him, so unfortunately he did go a little bit all in with that Nidus rush. He expected too much from it. And honestly, Zergs should really use Nidus worms a lot more. I mean, I know it didn't look like it was effective here, but imagine what would have happened had he waited, built up his own economy a little bit first, waited until I'd gotten complacent, started expanding around the map, moving around the map, and I just assumed that this was safe, because this is what I do in my games. Once I take a later expansion, my main tends to not be defended all that heavily. I mean, the hope is that by late game I will have enough warp gates to be able to fast action response, but had he stuck a Nidus worm there later, had he stuck a Nidus worm when this was undefended, he could have brought in his whole army, completely crushed me, and then retreated before I had a chance to respond, which would have been amazing. So, even though his use of the Nidus worm wasn't particularly effective, I still really appreciated the fact that he used it, because you never see Zerg using Nidus worms, and it just seems like such a powerful tool. I'm sure it'll eventually see use. I mean, the meta game, the strategy that the best of the best prefer, changes all the time. They're just constantly changing, so I'm hoping that one day Nidus worms will be in. I say I'm hoping. I'm gonna rue this video months down the line when everyone's using Nidus worms and I'm losing every single game against Zerg because they're going everywhere. But anyway, that was the interesting part of this match. Now I'm just sort of massing an army. Again, being far too passive. I don't know what it is about me and not being willing to attack my enemy at any point ever. It's something I'm going to have to work on, definitely. So, yeah, he leaves the game without a GG, which is disappointing, but I still love him because he used a Nidus worm. I will see you for the next replay in a moment. Hello again. Now, this replay does not go particularly well for me. My enemy in the red, I believe, is Exploder. Exploder. And Exploder is a cheesy bastard, as we will find out. I'm just doing my thing, my ordinary building of the economy and scouting, whereas he has 2 probes, very desperate to scout me early. I wonder why that would be. So what has he got back at home? He's got a forge. Now why would one get an early forge? Unless they were cannon rushing, and I was a little bit suspicious. As you can see, I sent a probe down to spot it, but my response here was perhaps not the best. I should have probably sent all my probes just to bum rush that pylon and make sure it got destroyed. So my response to this was not the best, so this cannon rush is going to work. I managed to destroy the probe, which means that his cannon production is halted. He's only got cannons there which aren't actually doing anything, which is tragic. He's not actually very good at cannon rushing, because what was the point in even building those? except maybe to defend his new probe when he sent it in. So now he's got me, he's definitely got me. So what have I done? I've sent a probe here, and I'm expanding to the rich mineral field, because any chance I did have to save this base is lost now. Would have loved to travel back in time and just see if bum rushing all of my probes to that pylon would have worked. But anyway, this base is just destroyed, and he probably thinks he's won, and he kind of has, but not yet. He hasn't. So I'm building up this base. I'm gonna high yield, which means let's look at the income. Yeah, I'm actually earning more money than him, though he will soon steal my old base, and he's found out where I am. He's going to try and rush it, but obviously I have defences at the ready. Don't want to lose that thing, but I did lose that thing. That's a bit bad of me. Though I do have another one, sort of keeping them at bay with force fields, and it looks like I'm going to manage to repel them. Yeah, he does manage to take down that cannon, but I've got at least one. So I've got to build my defences up. Cannons on both sides, cannons on both sides. Obviously he pretty much has two full bases now, this one very well defended. This one he's just had. I do have a huge clump of stuff here, and he's trying to attack me from the high ground, but I have a Colossus now. Do I have? Yeah, I still have the Colossus. I'm gonna sneeze. Sneezed, and sorry if that really hurt your ears. So I managed to hold that off, but these rich minerals, these high yields, they don't last very long. You mine them out so quickly that I'm starting to get into a bit of a bad situation. Perhaps I should have now taken the other rich minerals so I can keep myself in the game, but obviously I didn't. Let's have a look at what I can see. Pretty much nothing. For all I knew, he was there anyway. So I go in for the all-out final because I've now run out of minerals. I can't make anything else. This is the last of my forces. Microing them as best I can. Obviously he's got all these cannons, and that poor zealot, I didn't micro him very well. And so yeah, I lost this one, but I just wanted I lost this one, and the opponent was a cheesy bastard, but I wanted to show it anyway because, in a sense, this is the best I've ever dealt with a cannon rush ever. Usually when people cannon rush me, the games last 3 minutes. I managed to hang on for about 22 here. But alas, this one final Colossus of mine, this hero Colossus, is not going to manage to finish off anything else. GG. So I'll see you at the next replay when things start to look up for me, and we look closer at the late game. Hello, welcome back. Now, I don't know if these games are particularly interesting to look at, but I was proud of them personally because it's the first time I've ever dealt with the late game, the long-term macro game, with anything approaching competence, really. So we're just starting off the usual stuff. We can ×8 this, we've seen it a million times before. I'm making a gateway, he's making a gateway, he's getting 2 gas, and he's stealing my gas. He probably thinks he's been really clever there, but guess what, Jethro? I don't need that gas just yet. I can build everything I want to build on this gas. So that was just a waste of 75 minerals, wasn't it, bitch? So he's clearly doing something gas heavy, or maybe he's just getting more gas than he needs, which looks like that is in fact the case. Because he's just stockpiling that gas. I don't know what he needs it for, unless he was going to spam sentries, but he's not spamming sentries. So what has he got? 3 kind of very late gateways and a robo. So this kind of a failed 3-gate robo, I'd say. He's got an observer out though, seemingly before I've got an observer out. Where's my robo? Oh, I have an observer also, but I'm scouting for expansions, which is obviously not there, so I should probably have a look at what he does have. I'm a bit daft. And I've got this warp prism, which I fail at using. I've been practicing trying to use warp prisms because, again, I am a slave to copying people I think are cool. I was watching a stream yesterday by someone I think was called In Control. All I can remember is that he had pretended that his real name was Patrick Bateman, and I loved him forever for that. So he's scouting the hell out of this. He knows that this is coming. That has been well and truly scouted, and so he's got guys at the back. He knows it's coming, so my double-pronged attack isn't going to be as awesome as I thought it was. I thought I'll scare him at the front, get him at the back, but he knows it's coming. I only managed to get 2 zealots out before the ship explodes, so that's 300 minerals gone. I don't even get any workers. I just focus on these. I don't even focus on them. These obviously aren't being microed at all. And at the front, I'm sort of very timid, so that was a complete failure of an attack. But let's look at what I'm following up with. I'm still ahead at supply. Let's look at the units. Yeah, I've got more workers because I seem to be the only one who understands that workers are important. I've got 2 expansions up, and I'm getting a Twilight Council and a Robotics Bay for Colossus and Extended Thermal Lance. So even though that attack was a complete failure and I lost fucking loads, I'm still ahead, which fine by me. So he's taking his second is well defended. He's stopped defending this, so if I went back for a second Warp Prism I could have done some damage, but obviously I'm not, I'm not competent or confident using Warp Prisms yet. He's some sort of a weird proxy there, but yes, what am I doing? Templar Archives. Now I'm proud of this, and a double robo and more forges and more gateways. Are there more gateways? Let's see. Yeah, I've got 5 gateways, not many, but definitely more. But yes, this Templar Archives, I'm proud of this, because save for when I've tried to cheese in the past and do a Dark Templar rush, hang on a moment. Sorry, that was just Sarah saying she loves me, and I love her too. But anyway, save for Dark Templar rushing, I've never bothered to make high-tech things unless I'm cheesing, which is a bad thing. You're supposed to make high-level things. So, and look what I've got for the very first time, because this again, metagame always changing. I see a lot of the big boys doing this these days, getting Archons. And let's see how that works. He's come in for an attack, I've come in for the defense. He's got Colossus, I've got Colossus. He hasn't got Archons, I have got Archons. Let's see how the difference between us is. They just melt that, they're melting that Immortal, and they're going to melt these Colossus and taking barely any damage themselves. Hooray for Archons. I love Archons almost as much as I love Sarah. And he says, WTF, Mass Haluk? So he was asking if I had hallucinated most of that army, to which I reply, nope, that's all me, baby. And I was half expecting to be accused of cheating again, because that's happened to me in the past whenever I got stuff, so look at this! Ooh, more Archons. I don't have very much gas, but oh, I'm working on it. Overcommitting there, 4 on a gas, you shouldn't have that. So I don't have much gas, but in a way I am getting as much gas as I possibly could, so I can't scold myself there. Probably just the Archons are very gas heavy, so I go in, and at this point it's just a complete stomp. I haven't even constructed any more Colossus since I started making Archons. These things just haven't died. So, win-win-win. You just have way more stuff! Which, yeah, I hope Mr. Aetherdale looks at this replay and learns, because I don't have contempt for my opponents. I want everyone to get better. And again, I'll rue that comment when I'm on a losing streak. You have no hidden expo. How? So he's like, how did I get that much stuff without doing anything sneaky or cheesy? And again, just hoping that he looks at the replay, really. And he leaves the game kind of without a GG, which is a shame after he'd been so talkative. But yeah, hopefully he'll look at that replay and figure out how I did that with no hidden expo. So anyway, I will see you for the last and final, very redundant there, last and final replay in just a moment. I love you, Sarah. Hello, it's the moment you've all been waiting for. It is the last and final replay. So I am again the red Protoss, and my enemy is a blue Terran who prefers to call himself godlike. So we'll see how godlike is. We'll see what he's doing. Again, my scouting against Terran isn't the best. My scouting against anything except Protoss isn't the best, really. I need to better understand the other races still. So I see a gas, and I see a barracks, and I'm just wondering if this barracks is going to get any add-on, because if it does, it'll mean Reapers, but no, he's getting 2 barracks, which seems to imply that what he's doing is more rushy. Or if not rushy, then just early aggressive-y. So I put a pylon on his expansion, just so I can know exactly when he's getting an expansion. Obviously this is a bit of a big investment, because it does slow down my economy straight away. I have to build sort of an unnecessary pylon, because this one will be killed any moment, and I don't want to be supply blocked. So I'm just carrying on with my 3-gate robo. It is a little bit sluggish now that I've invested in that pylon, but I considered it a worthy investment at the time. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but oh, blue is massing. He scanned me. He's going in for a fairly early attack. He takes out one zealot, conks the others. He got a quick concussive shell. He was obviously trying to play ring around the rosies with me. So I've got my observer now, and I'm going to see what's up. I'm initially just going to send my observer to the let's scout for an expansion route, but I think I turn him around in a second because there's so much going on here. I want to look out for bunkers or proxies or things like that. So I'm getting an immortal, which would shut down the marauders quite nicely. I bait a couple of them up the ramp, which is what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to pick them off slowly, and yep, this is attack. He got one of my zealots, and he's just been losing things ever since, so I'm pleased with that. 10 marines, some marauders, and barely any workers, so he's either just a bad macroer in general, which looking at his money it kind of looks like he is, or he's going all in with this. I continually tried to bait them in. That was a bit of a misplaced force field though. So let's see what goes on. He retreats now, realises that it's futile, but he's not following it up with making any workers, so figure this is a fine time to take an expansion. I've scared my enemy off. I've got a glut of immortals which will handle any marauder play in the future. I'm well and truly scouting. He's still massing up an army, but he's clearly expecting me to counterattack. That's what he's expecting. But Human Fish Boy does not adhere to your expectations, and the phone is ringing, so I'm going to pause this. The phone has stopped ringing even though I haven't answered it, so either someone had dialed the wrong number and realised it, or I have a phone answering stalker in my house. Have you been answering my phones? You bitch. So anyway, got this expansion, I'm just kind of macroing. I could probably take a third. He's gone completely on the defensive. Looks like he's not going offensive at all, though I am scouting for starports. I've spotted that starport, so I know there might be drop play. So am I sticking down any cannons? Yes, I'm sticking down some cannons so I can get an early heads up on that drop play, or even take out the medevac straight up if he is a bad microer. Which, looking at that early attack, he just might be. And I decide, now that I've got 2 Colossus, shitloads of Immortals, and lots of Stalkers and Zealots, it's a good time to attack. Why wouldn't I attack? And again, I must confess, I'm holding this up as an example of a good late game transition. I probably didn't even need to transition to the late game. I probably could have ended it here and now, but getting some good late game practice is always a good idea. So we go in. He's still got a huge infantry army, which is just going to melt, melt, melt. Yep, it's melting away. Let's look at the units lost. Lovely. He's just losing a lot. I'm losing a lot too, but that's always to be expected when you attack, though I'm probably losing quite a bit now, though. Okay, that's evened it out. I've destroyed his expansion. And I move away. I have 3 Colossus left. Still all 4 of my Immortals, and it looks like a Stalker, which probably would have been enough to steamroll the rest of his base, because let's look at his units. Yeah, he's got 2 Marines and 2 Marauders on the field, which I feel like that army could have beaten that. But I go back anyway, because I'm going to sneeze again. Hang on. Ow! There we go, I edited out that sneeze, just to be nice and friendly to you. But at this point, I want to just practice the late game. It's a no pressure from the enemy late game, so it's probably not completely indicative of what higher level play will be like. But what am I doing? What am I producing? I've got 62 workers. Very nice. He's getting ghosts and nukes, so he's obviously trying to pull himself back in this with special tactics. And I'm just making Archons and Zealots, and I must surely have the charge upgrade. Yeah, I do have the charge upgrade, not bothering with blinks. And oh, what's this? Is that a nuke? Jesus Christ, that's going to be the end of me. I must confess, I didn't spot this nuke at all. So, yeah, but by the looks of it, he killed 2 probes with that nuke. And a nuke is 100 minerals and 100 gas, so that nuke actually costed more for him than it earned. He's now trying to take out my cannons, but no, sir. Just no. It's a bit overkill there to send my entire army for 1 ghost, but hey, I'm supply blocked. I've got nothing left to do. And again, that getting supply blocked, not the best thing I could be doing, so late game practice obviously necessary. Taking a fort now in anticipation of the fact that this main is mined out, and I want to keep my income nice and high. Still skyrocketing over him, and it looks like I've decided to end it now with my super duper Archon Zealot Stalker Immortal Colossus force. How the hell do you counter that, ladies and gentlemen? The answer is you can't. I just have a death ball to end all death balls, and he leaves without a GG, but I suppose when you're facing that, there are just no words. There are just no words. So thank you for watching this bunch of replays. I hope it was at least mildly interesting, and I will see you later. And oh look, he even tried a drop here, but nope. Warp in Stalkers. Denied. So yeah, good night.